You are already awake, though your eyes are closed. There is no dream to leave behind, just the chill of dawn, clinging to your bones like wet cloth. You can feel the weight of the wool blanket, not warm, just heavy. It smells like damp earth and last year's mildew, softened by the musk of shared sleep. You shift, slightly. The straw mattress beneath you groans, a dry, brittle sound, like old paper being torn in half. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see. You lie still. Because stillness is softer than what comes next. Outside, the church bell rings. Not a melody, more of a threat. Loud and hollow, it rolls across the crooked rooftops like a complaint no one will answer. You count the strikes. 5. Or 6. It hardly matters. Time is less a number here and more a wound that stretches quietly from one season to the next. Your breath makes a cloud in the air. The roof above you is thatched but generous, it gives the rain away in, and keeps the warmth out. The others are still sleeping, or pretending to. Your brother's elbow is jammed somewhere near your ribs. Your aunt is snoring softly through her mouth, you can hear it echo in the darkness like a lullaby dragged too far. A cousin mutters in his sleep about turnips. Or taxes. It's hard to tell. The fire went out in the night. Not that it ever burned with ambition. Just a few sullen embers, choking on damp wood. You can smell them now, mingled with the scent of goat, old beer, sweat, and whatever died in the corner 3 days ago and still hasn't been formally introduced. There are no windows. Just holes in the wall covered in oiled cloth. They weep with condensation. But here, you are old enough to know your knees will never forgive the cold. You reach for your shoes. But remember, you don't have any. Instead, your bare feet find the floor. It is either wet with last night's rain, or something worse. The texture is impossible to name. You consider asking, but then, decide ignorance is gentler than truth. You stand, bones reluctant. Your tunic scratches your skin, stiff with yesterday's grime and the day before's. Washing clothes is reserved for saints and summer. You are neither. There's no privacy. There never was. Everyone sees you, but no one looks. Modesty doesn't live here. It ran off years ago with dignity, and no one filed a missing persons report. You reach for your belt. But here, you are old enough to know your knees will never forgive the cold. You reach for your shoes. But remember, you don't have any. Instead, your bare feet find the floor. It is either wet with last night's rain, or something worse. The texture is impossible to name. You consider asking, but then, decide ignorance is gentler than truth. Back inside, breakfast waits. By breakfast, of course, you mean a wooden bowl filled with something called pottage, a term too generous for what is essentially sadness in soup form. You hold the whole loosely in your hand. The wood is smooth in some places, jagged in others, like it can't quite decide what kind of pain to give you. You don't blame it. Then stop. Thinking hurts more than hunger. The Lord's fields stretch far. Too far. He doesn't come here, of course. His boots are allergic to mud. His hands to labor. His eyes, too noble to notice you. But he owns this. All of it. And by extension, you. It's strange, you think, how something can be yours only in the way a shadow is yours, always close, always quiet, never free. You straighten your back. It protests. Loudly. You compromise. Bend again. You stare at the crust. It stares back. You eat. Not because you're hungry. Because hunger is less terrible than waste. Nearby, Mara gnaws a turnip. It looks raw. She looks content. Or at least, not in open rebellion. You admire. You think of bread. Not the one you chewed at noon, the other kind. Soft. Warm. Pulled from a hearth that doesn't smoke like a dying tree. You imagine butter. Not because you've tasted it. Just because someone once described it to you like it was poetry. You want to believe in butter. A drop of rain hits your temple. You pretend it's not a warning. Then another. Then more. The clouds break open like a bad secret. The kind everyone already suspected. Rain in stories is romantic. Cleansing. Here, it is just cold. And wet. And full of in the mud. In the ache they'll carry to bed and unpack again tomorrow. You stare into the bowl long after it's empty. Not out of longing. Just because it gives you something to do. You hear a cough. Someone clears their throat. The baby fusses. The fire hisses. You exist. You lie down again. In your corner. Or the corner that used to be yours before your cousin moved in with her 4 children and her duck. The straw mattress feels damp. It always does. The blanket smells of wool, smoke, and the sins of last winter. You curl inward. Not for comfort. But for space. You think, briefly, of what your life might have been, in a different story. A warmer one. With a name. With peace. With shoes. You wonder what your mother wanted for you. Before she knew the world. Your eyes close. The rain has started again. It taps the roof like a lullaby for the stubborn. The wind hums a tune only the walls understand. Your breath slows. The day is over. But that. You sleep until the cold wakes you. Not sudden. Not cruel. Just a creeping kind of cold, quiet, polite, and insistent. It arrives like everything does here, without permission, without apology. Your eyes remain closed. There is no reason to open them yet. The fire has died again. You poke it with a stick, more out of spite than hope. A few embers blink at you, unimpressed. Someone has already taken the last of the bread. You find the heel, hard as wood, with a smear of something unnameable on it. You chew slowly, as if that might help. It doesn't. Outside, the frost has crept in through the gaps in the wall, coating the floor in silence. The kind of silence that means you'll ache before noon. You stand. Your tunic is only slightly less damp than your dreams. You wear it anyway. Options are a luxury. And luxury lives elsewhere. You step outside. The morning greets you with its usual rudeness. No warmth. No birdsong. Just wind, biting at your cheeks like it's been waiting all night. The sky is colorless. Like someone washed the world and forgot to rinse out the sadness. You walk toward the stream. The path is familiar, the same one your mother walked. And her mother. And all the women whose names were never written down. At the edge of the water, you kneel. It stares back at you, black and still. You wash your hands. The water is cruel, but honest. It doesn't pretend to care. You splash your face. You don't flinch. Cold has stopped surprising you. The baby cries. Life, here, is a collection of soft arguments and dull noises. You take your turn at the hearth. Stir what's in the pot. It's pottage again. Or still. There's no way to know. You eat quickly. Not because you're hungry. Because warmth is a race, and the spoon is your only weapon. You look at your family, each face marked by something. Time, weather, disappointment. No one smiles. Not because they're unkind. Because smiles cost more than they're worth. You nod to your father. He nods back. That's all you get. That's all you need. You head out again. The fields don't wait. They never do. The hoe is where you left it, leaning against the shed like a tired friend you no longer speak to. You pick it up. It sighs in your hand. The soil is stiff with frost. You press the blade in. It resists. You press harder. Your breath clouds the air. You watch it vanish. You think of warmth. Of fireplaces that roar instead of whisper. Of cloaks lined with fur, not memory. Of a bed with sheets that don't smell like mildew and goat. Of hands that touch yours gently, not just out of necessity. But dreaming here is dangerous. It breeds longing. And longing is a hunger no bread can feed. You strike the earth again. Not out of anger. Out of rhythm. The frost melts slowly under your labor. The field yields, reluctantly. A bird lands on a post nearby. Small. Brown. Unimpressed. You envy it. And still you work. Because you must. Because someone must. And because stopping feels like admitting something you can't afford to know. You bend. You lift. You breathe. You ache. But that is a story for tomorrow night. The day wears on like a cloak that's too wet to remove. You keep your head down, your hands busy, and your thoughts quiet. The work never changes. Only your bones do. The frost has softened into mud, which is worse, somehow. It clings. It drags. It makes your feet feel like they owe the ground something, and the ground, being old and petty, intends to collect. The wind has shifted. You feel it in your ears, sharp and personal, as though it's whispering things it shouldn't know. You pull your tunic tighter. It doesn't help. Nothing helps, really, except the illusion that help is coming. You look at your hands. Cracked. Calloused. Covered in earth. The nails are more dirt than nail. They do not look like the hands of a hero. They look like tools that forgot they were once part of someone. You wonder what your hands might have done in another life. Played an instrument. Written letters that made someone cry softly, late at night. Held someone's face, without shaking. But not here. Not in this world, where hands dig, scrub, chop, serve, suffer. Here, hands are quiet things. They do not speak unless bleeding. You straighten slowly. Your back protests, but only politely now, like a relative who used to shout, and has settled into sighing. In the distance, someone is singing. You don't recognize the song. The words are nonsense. But the voice is soft. High. Thin as lace. It could be a child, or an old woman, or a ghost with good pitch. It doesn't matter. You close your eyes and listen. Just for a moment. Because in this life, moments are the only things you can steal without punishment. You lean on your hoe. The handle is warm from your grip. Or maybe it's just tired of being cold. The clouds shift again, parting slightly. A sliver of sunlight falls across your face like a mistake. You blink against it. For a second, the world is gold. And then, just as quickly, the clouds remember themselves. And the light is gone. You go back to digging. Around you, others do the same. Faces you've known your whole life, but only by shape. Not by story. That's the way here. You share breath, bread, space, but not dreams. Dreams are private. Dangerous. Beautiful in the way fire is beautiful, they warm you, yes. But they burn. You dig until the bell rings again. Not the church bell. The other one, duller, lower, tied to the rhythm of work, not worship. It tells you the day is done. Not finished. Just paused. Long enough to sleep and begin again. You walk home slowly. Your knees ache. Your shoulder twinges with every step. You try not to limp. Limping gets noticed, and noticing invites questions. and questions lead to answers you'd rather not say out loud. Back at the hut, someone has started the fire again. You can smell it, wet wood, smoke, and a hint of something that might be soup, or might be defeat. You slip off your outer tunic and hang it near the hearth. It steams, faintly. A ghost rising from the folds. You sit. The floor creaks. The baby is asleep in the corner, wrapped in a cloth that used to be a curtain. Or a shirt. Or a shroud. No one remembers. You're handed a bowl. This one has something different in it. Not better. Just different. Maybe a carrot. Maybe not. You eat it without ceremony. Hunger has no manners. The room is full of soft sounds, chewing, breathing, the hiss of firewood resisting flame. A spoon clinks against a bowl. Someone coughs. No one speaks. You finish your meal and place the bowl beside the hearth, stacked on top of yesterday's regrets. You stretch out on your part of the straw bed. Your blanket has dried, not fully, but enough to pretend. The warmth from the fire reaches just far enough to kiss your toes. You curl toward it like a cat, like a child, like something that remembers comfort. Your eyes close slowly. The room grows heavier, quieter. You hear someone whisper a prayer. Sleep comes in pieces. Like breadcrumbs. Like promises. You follow. Outside, the wind howls again, but the walls hold. For now. You breathe. And dream. Not of escape. Just of softness. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake before the others. Not because you're rested. You don't remember what rest feels like. You wake because your back has given up pretending the floor is a bed. Because something in your neck has folded the wrong way. Because the cold is always there, patient and precise, slipping under the blanket like a secret you can't forget. The fire has died again. The coals are gray. Even they are tired of pretending to be heat. You lie still, eyes open, watching shadows that don't move. The room smells of breath and wool and old potatoes. Somewhere, a mouse is chewing something that might once have been valuable. You pull the blanket up higher, though it does nothing. You do it anyway. Habit is stronger than hope. You think of what day it is. Not the name, those are for monks and merchants. No, you think of what kind of day. The kind where your boots will stay dry. The kind where the Lord won't ride past and remind you that your face looks too free. Probably not. You sit up slowly. No one else stirs. The baby makes a sound like a sigh that lost its way. Your cousin mumbles something in her sleep, a name, maybe, or a warning. You look away, even though no one sees you. You step over limbs, bundles, a duck. The door creaks open like a complaint. The morning meets you like a slap. Cold air, thick with fog. The kind that touches everything, even the inside of your lungs. Your breath becomes cloud, then vanishes. You follow it with your eyes, as if it might return with news. The village is quiet. Roofs slump under frost. Fences lean like old men remembering when they were stronger. The stream whispers behind the trees, pretending it doesn't carry waste and regret. You walk, slowly. To no place in particular. Sometimes walking is the only thing that feels like choice. You pass the chapel. Its door is shut. The bell waits. It always waits. It knows its turn will come, like hunger, like winter, like judgment. You pause near the old tree. Its branches are bare, but not dead. You envy that. To be stripped, yet still standing. That feels like something worth learning. You reach out and touch the bark. Rough. Cold. Familiar. There are names carved into it. Faded now. Letters cut by hands long gone. You try to read one, but the moss has blurred the meaning. You wonder if anyone will carve your name. You wonder if that matters. You return home with quiet feet. The others are waking now, slow as the sun. You can hear them stretching, coughing, adjusting the day around their shoulders. You help stoke the fire. This time, it catches. A small flame, brave enough to try. Someone hands you bread. It's still yesterday's, but someone softened it in broth. It tastes like salt and effort. You chew slowly. There is no talk of the work ahead. There doesn't need to be. The work always arrives, like the bell, like the cold, like the ache that wraps your legs at night and whispers, still here. You dress. Again. The same tunic. The same belt. The same shoes, if you can call them that. They flap when you walk. Like they're trying to escape. You step outside. Again. The sky is the color of stone. The wind carries wood smoke and something sweeter, someone, somewhere, is baking. Not you. You smell it. Then let it go. You head for the fields. Your hoe is already there, waiting, propped against the fence like a patient executioner. You pick it up. It knows your grip. The two of you are more intimate than most lovers. The soil is stiff today. Not frozen. Just bitter. You dig anyway. Not because it will yield. Because no one speaks. No one needs to. The land is conversation enough, cruel, consistent, full of demands. At one point, you look up. A hawk circles high overhead. It screams once, then disappears into the sky. You wonder if it sees you. You wonder what you look like from above. A dot. A shape. A creature with no wings and no escape. Still, you dig. The wind picks up. The clouds deepen. Rain threatens. But it waits. Even the storm knows, everything takes its turn. You dig until your hands go numb. And then. You dig a little more. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You don't feel the rain at first. It starts as a hush, not a sound, exactly, but the absence of one. As if the world is drawing breath, deciding whether to be merciful. Then it begins. Not with thunder, not with fury. Just a slow descent. Soft as ash. Cold as truth. It seeps through your hair, your tunic, your skin. It doesn't fall so much as settle. Like it has always been here, and you are only now noticing. The others keep working. So do you. The mud thickens underfoot. Your boots, what's left of them, squelch with each step, like they're chewing your hope. You try not to slip. You do, a little. No one laughs. No one ever laughs in the rain. You glance up once, just to see if the sky has a face. It doesn't. Only more gray. An endless, bloated ceiling, pressing down on the earth like a punishment. The water runs down your spine. You ignore it. You've ignored worse. Your tunic clings to your body now, not like a lover, but like debt. Your fingers are stiff. The hoe handle has turned to ice in your hands. You can't feel the splinters anymore. That should comfort you. It doesn't. You bend again. Dig. Breathe. Ache. A figure nearby, maybe Mara, maybe someone older, stumbles. Not hard. Just enough to make the earth sigh. She catches herself. Doesn't speak. You nod toward her. She doesn't nod back. That is the closest you've come to affection in weeks. The rain continues. It has nowhere else to go. By the time the bell rings, the mud has reached your calves. You pull yourself free with a sound like regret. You walk home slowly. The path is heavier now. Like it knows you have nothing left to carry but your own tired shadow. At the door, someone opens it for you. A rare kindness. You nod. They nod. Nothing more. Inside, the heat is a rumor. The fire sulks in the hearth. A wet cloak hangs over a beam, dripping like guilt. You peel off your tunic. The steam rising from your skin makes you look like you're vanishing. You wish you were. Someone gives you dry clothes, your other tunic. The one that only smells slightly worse. You thank them with your eyes. You sit by the fire, bowl in hand. Tonight, the pottage is thicker. Less water, maybe. Or more root. It sticks to the spoon like it's not quite ready to be swallowed. You eat anyway. You always do. Around you, no one talks about the rain. Or the mud. Or the way your father's hands shook when he tried to lift his spoon. Some things are too familiar to name. You lie down early. The blanket is warm from someone else's body. You take what you can get. Your body curls without asking. A habit born from hundreds of cold nights and a straw bed that has memorized your shape. The room quiets. The fire fades. You listen to the rain. It's softer now. Not because it has stopped, but because you've stopped noticing. You think of summer. Not with longing. Just with curiosity. You wonder if it's real. Or if it's just something the old ones invented to keep children obedient. The rain has stopped by morning, but the silence it left behind still lingers. You wake slowly. Not because you want to, no one wakes with want here, but because your back insists. Sleep leaves your limbs like a shy visitor, retreating without goodbye. The air is thick. Not warm. Just dense, like breath held too long. The scent of damp straw, old wood, and wet wool hangs in the room like memory. Your blanket has collected the night, every drop, every sigh, every forgotten prayer. You sit up. The hut is dim, even with the morning creeping through the cloth-covered holes in the wall. Someone is stoking the fire. You hear the scrape of kindling, the soft cough of smoke being born again. The baby stirs. Someone whispers to it, a lullaby made more of breath than words. You run a hand through your hair. It's still damp, curling in ways you never approved of. You wonder when you last felt clean. Not washed, truly clean. That kind of clean that lives in stories, with soap and sunlight and solitude. You stand. Slowly. Your muscles answer with questions. Why now? Why again? Why always? You step outside. The door gives way with a groan, as if protesting your return to the world. The village is soaked. Mud covers everything. It has swallowed paths, reshaped corners, claimed shoes and chickens and dignity. The fences lean deeper. The stream gurgles louder, drunk on yesterday's runoff. You breathe in the morning, wet bark, chimney smoke, the tang of earth that's been stepped on too often. A rooster crows, late and uncertain. Even it sounds unsure about the day. You walk to the field. Slowly. There is no rush. The Lord's crops aren't going anywhere, and neither are you. The hoe is waiting again. It always is. You pick it up. The handle is slick from rain. You grip tighter, as if that will make it less reluctant. The soil is heavier today, thick, dark, unwilling. It clings to the blade like a child that doesn't want to be left behind. You dig anyway. You reach the coop. The hens cluck at you, unimpressed. Their feathers puff against the cold, their eyes sharp and familiar. You give them feed, stale and crumbling. They peck without gratitude. You envy them. Their lives are short. But simple. No taxes. No tithes. No aching thoughts. You return to the hut. The others are stirring now, slow limbs, soft groans, faces that forgot how to smile in winter. You pull your tunic over your head. It smells of yesterday, and the day before that. A comfort, in its way. Familiarity holds you together better than faith. You eat something. You're not sure what. Pottage again, or a cousin of pottage. It tastes like boiled patience. The baby is crying now, properly. Your cousin rocks it with one arm, stirring the pot with the other. No one offers to help. Help is a luxury. And luxuries are dangerous. You step outside. The sun is trying. A pale disk behind the clouds, like a candle seen through fogged glass. It casts no shadow. Just the idea of one. You walk to the field. Your boots squelch in the thawing earth. The mud is back, persistent, jealous, as if it missed you. The hoe leans where you left it, bent slightly from yesterday's effort. You greet it with a sigh. It does not return the gesture. Tools, like people, eventually grow tired of being held. You begin again. The soil is stubborn today. You press, push, twist. The mud gives way slowly, like it's remembering your hands. Your arms move without you now, a habit with bones. Dig. Lift. Breathe. Forget. You look up once. The trees at the edge of the field are bare, reaching toward the sky like they've lost something and still hope it might return. You wonder what they remember. You wonder what they've forgotten. The others are scattered through the field, silent shapes in mist. No one speaks. No one sings today. The air feels too heavy, like it's full of unsaid things. You keep working. Not because there's hope. Because there's rhythm. And rhythm is the closest thing you have to peace. Your fingers are raw. Your wrists ache. But there's something soothing in the repetition. A dullness that protects you from thought. Still, it creeps in. What if you'd been born a century from now? What if the world changed before you arrived? What if the gods had given you a voice they meant to be heard? You let the questions pass. There are no answers in this field. Only rocks. And roots. And a silence that knows you better than any priest. When the bell rings, you don't stop right away. Just one more row. One more patch. One more swing of the hoe. And then you walk home. Your legs are trembling, but not visibly. You've trained them in discretion. The hut is warmer than expected. The fire has behaved for once. You sit, grateful for the illusion. You're handed a bowl. You eat without tasting. The food is hot. That's enough. Someone tells a story. Not a new one. No story here is new. It's about a man who escaped. Walked west. Found work. Found love. You pretend to believe it. That's the custom. Your head rests against the wall. The straw at your back pokes gently, like it's checking if you're still alive. You close your eyes. You imagine that bread again, soft, warm, waiting. You imagine someone saying your name and meaning it. The room grows quiet. Sleep returns. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake to the sound of dripping. Not rain, that would be too dramatic. Just the slow, steady tick of something leaking through the roof. Each drop lands in the same spot. You know it well. The wood there is darker. Softened. Wounded. You stare at it for a long time before moving. Your body doesn't want to. It negotiates every motion now, shoulder first, then spine, then knees, then everything else, one reluctant hinge at a time. The others are still sleeping, curled like commas, each one bent in their own version of retreat. The fire has reduced itself to suggestion. A little smoke. A little warmth. Nothing certain. Your breath fogs the air. You watch it rise and fade, like prayer without conviction. You stand. The floor greets you with a creak and a chill. Outside, the sky is neither morning nor night. Just dim. A color between gray and surrender. You step carefully through the mud, though careful no longer means dry. It just means respectful. You nod to the coop. The hens blink back at you, half awake. One of them squawks with the voice of someone who's seen too much. You understand. You return inside with eggs, cracked and dirty. Someone will clean them. Maybe. You eat a piece of bread that could stop a blade. Chew it slowly, not for flavor, but because speed invites splinters. Your jaw aches after. But then again, everything does. Your cousin says something about the Lord Steward coming today. Taxes. Tithes. Grain that isn't grain anymore. A list of what you owe, measured against what you never had. No one replies. There's nothing to say that hasn't been said with eyes and quiet. You dress in the usual way. Same tunic, same rope belt, same shoes with the same hole. You consider patching it. But you've grown fond of the breeze. The path to the field is familiar. It feels more like a corridor now, worn by repetition, softened by footsteps. You wonder how many lives have walked this same stretch of earth and thought the same tired thoughts. Your hoe leans where it always does. Loyal, if not friendly. You begin. The soil is better today. Still stubborn, but less malicious. Maybe it remembers the rain. Maybe it feels sorry for you. Your arms move in slow circles. Dig, lift, pull, sigh. You've become fluent in the language of labor. No one teaches it. You learn by erosion. The wind picks up around midday. It carries the scent of something distant, smoke, maybe. Or burnt barley. Or just the idea of warmth from a fire that belongs to someone else. You close your eyes. Just for a moment. It's quiet enough to hear your own heartbeat. A slow, tired drum. Still going. Still going. You glance up. The steward is here. He stands at the edge of the field like a man admiring something he didn't build. His horse shifts impatiently. His cloak is clean, almost cruelly so. You lower your eyes before he sees you seeing him. Later, they'll take some of the grain. Or all of it. Depends on the mood. Depends on the weather in places you'll never visit. Someone whispers that he smiled today. Someone else says it was worse than when he didn't. The sun never really shows up. It hovers behind clouds, ashamed of itself. You dig until your hands ache, then until they go numb, then until the bell rings. Or maybe you imagine the bell. Either way, you stop. Home again. Same path. Same boots. Same ache blooming quietly behind your eyes. The fire has been fed. A small miracle. The baby is sleeping. Another. The hut feels bearable. You eat slowly. Someone has boiled onions. The smell fills the space like memory. You used to hate onions. Now you dream of them. You sit back, the bowl in your lap, the firelight dancing on your knees. Your head leans against the wall. The straw scratches behind your ear, soft and familiar. You don't talk. No one does. But tonight, there's a feeling in the room. Not hope, you're smarter than that. Just a kind of stillness that doesn't feel hollow. Like something remembered you. Your eyes close. You think of the dripping roof, and how it sounds like someone knocking from the other side. You let it knock. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake to quiet. Not silence, the world never gives you that, but something close. A softer kind of stillness. As if the village is holding its breath. The fire has not gone out this time. A small orange thread glows in the ashes, patient, modest. You wonder who tended it through the night. You wonder what they were thinking, staring into flame while the rest of you slept. Your body aches. Of course it does. But today, it feels like the ache of continuation, not collapse. A small difference, but enough to matter. You sit up. The others are still curled into sleep, vague shapes under blankets, each one wrapped in their own slow forgettings. Someone is snoring. Someone else mumbles something about flower. Or flowers. Or neither. You pull on your tunic. It feels heavier than usual, but drier too. You count that as a win. Outside, the frost has retreated, leaving puddles in its place, reflective, like broken glass laid gently on the path. The air smells of wet wood, and something sweeter beneath it, bread, perhaps. Or memory. You walk to the coop again. The hens are already awake. One pecks your boot, not out of anger, just habit. You nod at her, as if she's asked a question you can't answer. The eggs are warm in your hands. Fragile. Complete. You carry them back like they might disappear. Inside, the others are stirring. Quiet voices. The soft rhythm of waking in a house with no privacy. But a great deal of understanding. You eat. Something hot. You don't ask what it is. You listen to the spoon tap against the bowl. A rhythm. A song you've been singing your whole life without knowing the words. Your father talks about the field. Your cousin mentions the steward. Your uncle doesn't speak at all, just rubs his hands like he's trying to remember what warmth feels like. You dress. Again. The road to the field is drier. Firmer. You can feel the shape of stones underfoot. You step around them. Or over them. They've been there longer than you. They'll be there after. The hoe is waiting, of course. Today it leans a little to the left. Maybe it's tired too. You begin. The soil opens more easily now. The rain softened it. You dig with less resistance, though the ache is the same. Always the same. Still, today there's a kind of rhythm you haven't felt in days. A flow. As if the field has stopped fighting you. As if it knows you're not going anywhere. The clouds part once. Just briefly. The sun slips through like an apology. It touches your shoulder, then disappears. You don't turn to follow it. You keep digging. Someone hums. Not a song. Just a sound. It rises and falls like breathing. You don't know who it is, but you don't want them to stop. The hours pass quietly. You think of the things you've never done. You've never seen the sea. You've never tasted an orange. You've never been kissed by someone who didn't need you to carry something. You dig slower. Not because you're tired. But because your thoughts are moving, and you want to hear them. You wonder what the steward would do if you simply stopped. Dropped the hoe. Walked to the edge of the forest. Kept going. You imagine the sound your feet would make on fresh moss. You imagine the silence. The real kind. But then someone calls your name. Softly. You don't answer, but you do keep digging. By the time the bell rings, your arms are shaking. You walk back with the others, the sun now tucked behind the hills like it never wanted to be here in the first place. Inside, the fire is stronger. Someone's added real wood. Not just scraps. You feel it in your toes. Dinner is thicker tonight. More root than broth. Someone laughs, briefly. A quiet, surprised laugh, like they forgot how. You lie down early. The straw pokes through the blanket again. You shift. It doesn't help. But movement feels like doing something. You close your eyes. The roof creaks. The wind sings. The world, for now, holds still. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You dream of walking. Not running, you've never dreamed that. Just walking. Past the village, through the field, into woods that don't belong to anyone. The trees don't notice you. The wind doesn't ask your name. You just keep walking, and no one follows. It's the kind of dream that doesn't end. It just fades. You wake to the sound of someone coughing. Deep, ragged. Familiar. You don't open your eyes right away. Instead, you lie still and listen to the fire breathe. It's quiet now, almost thoughtful. The kind of fire that's learning to become ash. Eventually, you sit up. The hut smells of damp wool and steam. Someone's boiled something overnight. You can hear the simmering still, low and tired, like a lullaby on its last note. The morning feels slower today. Outside, the light is strange. Not gray. Not gold. Something in between, like the sky hasn't made up its mind. You move carefully, joints groaning. You've started to count your steps less by number, more by sound. The floor creaks once. Then again. It's a conversation between you and the boards, one you've been having for years. You step outside. The village is wrapped in mist. The kind that softens corners. Hides the broken things. You stand for a moment, watching smoke rise from chimneys. Thin, crooked lines reaching into the sky like questions with no answers. You gather firewood. Not much, just enough for tonight. You know how to guess now. How to carry only what you can burn. The cold is cruel, but it teaches. You walk to the field slowly. The path is quieter than usual. The mud has settled. Even the birds seem uncertain. You greet your hoe without touching it. It leans against the fence, waiting, as it always does. The soil today is firm, but not hostile. Your hands remember the rhythm, dig, lift, breathe, ache. It becomes your prayer again. A kind of penance for a crime you never committed. You let your thoughts drift. Back to the dream. The path through the trees. The way your footsteps didn't echo. The way the air smelled, green and unpromising. You think about freedom. Not the kind they sing about in halls you'll never enter. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't explain itself. You wonder what it would feel like to make a decision no one expected. To say no. To leave. To stay, but differently. Someone nearby curses under their breath. A tool breaks. You don't turn your head. You just keep digging. The clouds move fast today. They don't look angry. Just impatient. You pause for a moment, lean on the hoe. The field stretches before you, not large, just endless in its own way. You close your eyes. You think of the stories. The ones about saints and kings. How they were chosen. How they suffered. How no one tells what their feet felt like at the end of the day. You wonder if their beds were soft. The bell rings later than usual. Or maybe you've simply worked faster. You walk home slowly. The firewood under your arm is damp. You help it. Not because it asked. Because you know how it feels. Dinner is simple. A root you can't name. Bitter, but filling. Someone makes a joke. It lands like a feather, unexpected, weightless, quickly gone. You smile. Not with your mouth. Just your eyes. You lie down early again. The straw feels softer tonight. Or maybe you've grown sharper. The mist curls against the walls like a memory trying to get in. You close your eyes and think of walking. Not toward something. Not away. Just walking. Quiet and free. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake before the light. The world is still holding its breath, balanced in the quiet between dark and dawn. Everything is hushed, the kind of silence that settles deep, that makes you feel like you're intruding just by breathing. The fire has gone out again. You knew it would. Its absence has shaped now, the kind of cold that finds your joints before your thoughts. It presses against your ribs, crawls under your tunic, settles into the space between spine and skin. You lie still. The blanket doesn't warm you, but it shields you from the choice to move. Movement will mean another day. Another pair of boots not quite fitted. Another field. Another bowl. So you stay. For a little while. Someone stirs beside you. The creak of a floorboard. The soft grunt of a body remembering it exists. You wait for the cough. It comes, dry and rattling, like a broken wheel spinning on its own. You sit up. The blanket slides off your shoulders like a sigh. The others remain in their little nests, bundles of limbs and breath and worn cloth. Your cousin mutters something, then rolls toward the wall. The baby sighs in sleep. Even the duck, somewhere near the door, shifts with irritation but doesn't wake. You rise. Slowly. The floor is colder than usual, not biting, just indifferent. You cross it in silence. Everything you own makes noise. The floorboards, your knees, your teeth. Outside, the fog is back. It coats the village like a blessing no one asked for. It blurs every shape, softens every sin. You like it. The fog doesn't lie. It just hides. There's a difference. You light a candle before you leave. A tiny flame, flickering with doubt. You carry it in your palm for a moment before setting it near the hearth. You whisper something to it. Maybe thanks. Maybe nothing. You walk to the well. The bucket creaks on the rope. You draw water slow enough not to wake it. The cold bites your hands. Not like punishment, more like a reminder. Back inside, the others begin to wake. You ladle water into the pot. Someone hands you oats. The fire is reluctant, but it accepts your coaxing. The pot warms. You stir in circles, watching the steam rise. You think of how many mornings have begun this way. You've lost count. Or maybe you never started. You eat without taste. Warm mush. Swallowed quickly. The heat stays in your mouth longer than in your stomach. No one says much. Words don't hold up well in the morning. They crack in the cold. You dress, again. The same layers. The same smell. The same hole in the left boot. You wonder, vaguely, if anyone in the next village over is wearing shoes with soles. You step outside. The fog kisses your cheeks. You don't flinch. The field waits. It always does. The path to it feels different today. Not softer. Not harder. Just, noticed. As if you're walking it with more attention than usual. You count the steps. You try to remember how many stones you pass. You lose count halfway. You reach your spot. The hoe leans against a post, its shadow barely there in the pale light. You lift it. Your hands remember before your thoughts do. The digging begins. And again, there's that rhythm. Dig. Lift. Breathe. Forget. Today, your arms feel stronger. Not because you've grown. Because you've surrendered. There's strength in surrender, not the kind they sing about, but the kind that gets you to evening. The mist clings to your clothes. It makes the air taste of iron and wet leaves. You glance at the others. They are scattered across the field like forgotten thoughts. Heads down, backs bent. You could name them all. You just don't want to. Somewhere nearby, someone is humming again. That same strange melody. It doesn't rise. It doesn't fall. It just floats. Like something barely breathing. You hum with it, quietly. Not to match it. Just to feel less alone. By the time the bell rings, you've stopped counting rows. You walk home with mud on your shins and something heavier on your chest, not sadness, exactly. Just the feeling that something is waiting. Somewhere. Maybe. The hut is warmer than expected. Someone fed the fire properly. You don't ask who. You don't need to know. Dinner is thin tonight. A broth with too much water, not enough reason. You drink it anyway. The bowl warms your hands, if not your heart. You lie down early again. The straw shifts beneath you. The blanket covers your legs but not your hope. That wanders somewhere else. You close your eyes. You think of the mist. How it held you, how it moved when you walked, how it made the world feel small enough to hold. You imagine walking again. Past the village. Into the woods. Not to escape. Just to arrive. But that is a story for tomorrow night. Someone calls your name. Gently. You blink. You've been standing still, staring at the trees, hope frozen midair. You nod and return to your task. But your hands are slower now. The thought stays with you. By the time the bell rings, your shoulders are trembling. Not from effort. From summit. The village smells of smoke and damp wood. A pot is boiling in one hut. Somewhere, someone is singing to a child. The notes are uneven but soft. You enter your door. The fire has grown. The hut is brighter than usual. The baby laughs once, a short, surprised sound. No one knows why. You sit by the hearth. Someone hands you a piece of bread. It's still rough. Still dry. But it's warm. You eat. You lie down soon after. The blanket is pulled higher this time. The straw beneath you feels less sharp. The light from the fire flickers on the ceiling like a forgotten memory, dancing just enough to be seen, not remembered. You close your eyes. And you think, not of leaving, not tonight. But of walking again. Of stepping beyond the familiar. Of asking the trees for their stories. But that is a story for tomorrow night. Medieval Mornings, Wake Up and Regret It, Part 15. This morning, you wake before your body does. Your eyes are open, but your limbs are still somewhere behind you, slower to rise. There's a stillness inside you, not peace, not comfort, just stillness. Like a river caught under ice. The fire has gone out again, but you don't notice the cold as much today. It's still there, whispering at your fingers and toes, but it feels far away. As if your thoughts have wrapped themselves in something warmer than wool. You sit up slowly. The others are still asleep, or doing what you're doing, pretending the day hasn't started, even though you know it has. You move through the space with care. Each motion is its own kind of prayer. Lifting the pot. Adding water. Stirring oats. Feeding the flame a splintered piece of yesterday's wood. You don't speak. No one does, yet. The room is full of shared quiet. You eat quickly. Not because you're in a rush. Because you want the heat to last as long as it can. Outside, the sky is still clear. The sun has not yet burned through the morning, but it's trying. The light falls in thin gold strips through the fog, slicing between the huts like someone misplaced a harp. You walk the road again. The same one. The only one. But today, you take slower steps. You count them again. You notice the stones. You notice a snail on a leaf. You notice how the dew clings to the corners of the grass, like the earth is trying not to cry in public. The field meets you the same way it always does, flat, endless, indifferent. But you meet it differently. You set the hoe down gently. Let it lean. Let it rest. You don't begin right away. You stare at the trees. They are quiet. Tall. Watching. You can feel them at the edge of everything, as though they're waiting for you to stop pretending you've never wanted to go. You dig. Slowly. Not for the work. Just to keep your hands busy while your mind wanders. You wonder what it would sound like to walk into the woods and not look back. Would the grass sigh beneath your feet? Would the trees part for you, or close around you? Would the sky change? You work half a row before someone calls your name. You blink, startled. Your hands have kept moving, but your mind has not been here. You nod at the voice, say nothing, and return to the soil. You press the blade in again. It cuts easier today. You try not to feel what you're feeling. But it grows. The sense that something is near. Not a person. Not a moment. Just a change. By midday, you are not tired, not in the usual way. Your arms are sore, but your thoughts are strangely light. You carry them like empty baskets. You walk home before the bell rings. No one stops you. You step off the path once, just for a second. Place your foot on unfamiliar grass. It sinks a little. It feels different. No one notices. Back at the hut, the fire is strong. Someone laughs softly at something the child did. You don't ask what it was. You just sit near the warmth and listen to the echo of joy, brief and uncertain, but real. You eat again. The same bread. The same bowl. But today it tastes like something you might remember later. You lie down earlier than usual. Not out of weariness. Out of readiness. You pull the blanket over your chest, rest your hand on your stomach, and close your eyes. The fire hums. The wind shifts. Tomorrow feels like a page turning itself. And that is a story for tomorrow night. This time, when you wake, the light is already there. Not harsh. Not loud. Just soft and steady, the kind of light that fills the room slowly, like a cup you forgot you were holding. It slips through the gaps in the wall, golden and quiet, dust dancing in its beams. You lie still for a moment, feeling the shape of the morning. The blanket rests gently over your chest. The fire is still breathing. Faintly, but enough to warm the air just past your fingers. The others are still asleep. No one coughs. No one shifts. You sit up. Your body is sore, but softer today. The ache is still there, but it has curled into something manageable. Something that no longer feels like punishment. You rise slowly. No hurry. The day will wait. Outside, the sky is clear. For real, this time. A pale blue stretches above the rooftops, streaked with thin clouds that look like they were brushed there by accident. You walk to the fence, just to lean on it. The field is behind you. The woods are ahead. The trees stand in their usual place, unmoving, unbothered. You stare at them. They stare back. And you think, maybe you could go. Not run. Not flee. Just, go. Walk quietly past the fields, into the shadow of the trees. Let the mud dry on your boots. Let the birds forget your name. Let the village shrink behind you until it becomes memory. What would you carry? You wake slowly. The first thing you notice is that the fire is still lit. It has held through the night, barely, like breath on glass, but enough to soften the edge of the cold. Enough to make waking feel less like punishment, more like habit. The second thing you notice is the quiet. Not silence, never silence, but something gentler. The kind of quiet that comes when the wind has gone somewhere else, when no one is coughing, when the world is between thoughts. You lie still for a moment. The straw beneath you crackles softly as you shift your weight. Your blanket is tangled, bunched behind your knees, as if it too tried to leave in the night and changed its mind halfway. You sit up. The others are still curled around themselves. The baby sleeps with one fist to its mouth. Your cousin's face is half buried in her arm, her hair loose and wild. The duck is nowhere to be seen. You suspect it's under the table again, chasing the warmth of the fire. You stand. Slowly. You stretch your arms and feel the ache there, dull, constant, familiar. Like an old song with too few notes. The hearth flickers. You coax the flame back into something braver. Add a few slivers of wood. Watch the smoke rise in lazy spirals. You don't speak. Not yet. Outside, the light is pale and yellow. A sun, yes, the real thing this time. Not strong, not proud, but present. It casts soft shadows on the wall. You watch one flicker, your own shape, stretched thin. You dress slowly. Each motion measured. The tunic stiff at the collar. The belt knotted in the same place as yesterday. The boots, still damp, still unwilling. You step outside. The frost is gone. In its place, dew, slick, delicate, caught on every blade of grass like the world's breath paused mid-sentence. You walk the same path, but it feels different. Not better. Just noticed. You watch a bird hop along the fence, its feathers puffed with effort. It looks at you, then away. You do the same. The field is waiting. Of course it is. The soil is darker today, softer underfoot. You press the hoe into the ground. It yields, not kindly, but without complaint. You begin again. The rhythm returns. Dig. Lift. Breathe. Forget. The sky remains clear. That feels suspicious. You've learned not to trust too much ease. The weather here is like memory, beautiful when distant, dangerous when near. You pause at one point and wipe your forehead with the back of your wrist. The sweat feels strange. Like it's been weeks since your body remembered how to warm itself. You glance toward the trees at the edge of the field. They look closer today. Or maybe you're just tired. You wonder again what lies beyond them. You've asked this before, quietly, in your thoughts. The woods are deep, they say. Cold. Full of wolves. Full of spirits. Full of nothing. Still, the question lingers. What if you walked there and didn't come back? Would anyone follow? Would anyone know the difference? This time, when you wake, the light is already there. Not harsh. Not loud. Just soft and steady, the kind of light that fills the room slowly, like a cup you forgot you were holding. It slips through the gaps in the wall, golden and quiet, dust dancing in its beams. You lie still for a moment, feeling the shape of the morning. The blanket rests gently over your chest. The fire is still breathing, faintly, but enough to warm the air just past your fingers. The others are still asleep. No one coughs. No one shifts. You sit up. Your body is sore, but softer today. The ache is still there, but it has curled into something manageable. Something that no longer feels like punishment. You rise slowly. No hurry. The day will wait. Outside, the sky is clear. For real, this time. A pale blue stretches above the rooftops, streaked with thin clouds that look like they were brushed there by accident. You walk to the fence, just to lean on it. The field is behind you. The woods are ahead. The trees stand in their usual place, unmoving, unbothered. You stare at them. They stare back. And you think, maybe you could go. Not run. Not flee. Just, go. Walk quietly past the fields, into the shadow of the trees. Let the mud dry on your boots. Let the birds forget your name. Let the village shrink behind you until it becomes memory. What would you carry? Not much. A blanket, maybe. Bread. A story you haven't told yet. The sound of your own footsteps, finally unchained. Would you be missed? Maybe. For a day. Maybe longer. Maybe no one would speak of it, because to name something is to believe in it, and your leaving might feel too much like rebellion, or hope. You exhale. The thought fades, not with sadness, just with quiet. You return inside. The fire has grown a little, someone has fed it. The others are waking. You hear laughter again, soft and private. A child pulls at your sleeve. You hand them a cup of water, and they grin. You eat. Slowly. Gratefully. The bread is warm this time. Someone added something to the broth, a herb, maybe. It smells of green. You sit by the hearth after, legs tucked beneath you, watching the flames dance. And something inside you feels, still. Not because things are better. Not because the pain is gone. But because you've survived all the days you didn't think you could. You don't think of the woods again today. You don't need to. Because in this moment, this breath, this firelight, you've arrived somewhere. Not far. But far enough. And that was your story. Good night.